everyone. Welcome to the Dreamer's Edge podcast and continuing our Couch Potato Week. Today we're going to talk about the Thursday Grid. I'm Dimitri, webmaster of DreamersEdge.com.
I'm Kazim, English editor of the Lex Digital Studios.
I'm Bill, computer engineer.
And, we might as well get started with some show and tell.
Yay!
My recommendation is a show that got cancelled prematurely, and that's Aaron Sorkin's Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which is an awful title. The reason why it got cancelled, I suspect, is because it came out right around the same time as 30 Rock, and both shows are about the cast and crew of a sketch comedy show. The difference being that 30 Rock is a comedy itself, and Studio 60 is a drama. And for some reason, people didn't understand that.
But that's what I loved about
Yeah.
it. It was the play off the comedy aspect in the comedy show and the dramatic aspects in what you're watching. And the writing just was wonderful for that too, where they integrate some comedy into the drama, which is always what makes the best drama shows, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But it's sort of the contrast between those two that made this an awesome show. And I mean, I've started watching 30 Rock since, and I like that show too.
Oh yeah, it's a terrific show.
But Studio 60 was something special.
Yeah.
What's great about it is that it started off as a drama about what's going on behind a comedy show. So it was kind of a drama about entertainment, what's behind entertainment. But because it got canceled prematurely, and I think Sorkin's got the feeling that that's what's happening, which would have been easy to see. Oh, look, ratings 0. Oh.
Oh no, there are 3 people in Canada watching it.
That's right.
But so he reoriented the show to make a single statement in the 22 episodes that they had. And it was all about entertainment in times of war. And so how, in times of war, the political pressure and the social pressure in the nation kind of reorient how entertainment is allowed to function. And there was a great episode that was set to air on Memorial Day, which did, but it was set to air on Memorial Day, which drew parallel with the artists who got blacklisted after World War II. And it makes a really strong statement about how politics influenced something that may seem trivial and gay, like comedy.
Yeah.
It stars Matthew Perry and Bradley Whitford from
The West Wing.
The West Wing, thank you. It's just an amazing show. If you're interested in history, if you're interested in politics, if you're interested in just social satire,
Which might explain why no one watched
Yeah,
it. I guess
that's
We like our entertainment light and fluffy.
yeah, that's true. Although people loved the West Wing, and it was the same thing, except it wasn't taking place in the White House.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, though, so that you're warned if you do buy the DVD set, Aaron Sorkin is not a sketch comedy writer. A lot of his sketch comedy bits that do show up on the show, it's kind of like meant to be incredibly funny and clever. And if you imagine it, an actual sketch comedy show, you would be changing the channel. But if you have that suspension of disbelief, it's a great show. And you get a full story. The story concludes because he knew it was ending, so he gave it a clear-cut conclusion.
Okay, so move on to the lineup. For Thursdays on ABC, starting with Flash Forward at 8.
Yeah. Kazim and I have already read up what those shows are about. And every time there's a new show, we're going to ask Theo to guess what the show is just by the title.
I will guess a sci-fi drama.
Oh, that's a good start.
With elements of not time travel, but precog.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's not a pre-apocalyptic thing.
It's not a pre-apocalyptic
No,
thing.
but I'm not sure what the precog would be for.
Okay. Well, you were right until you said the last sentence. It is a pre-apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
People from around the world have all the same doomsday vision, and that's how the various characters across the globe react to that.
Oh, that has potential.
It has potential, indeed. It's actually headed by David Goyer, co-writer of Batman Begins and Dark Knight. And Brandon Braga, who's a little bit less interesting, executive producer of 24 Enterprise. I get the feeling that it's either going to be awesome or disastrous. It's not going to be in the middle.
Well, especially starting the 8 o'clock time slot, you kind of want to grab people for the evening, right?
Okay, so following up at 9 on ABC, there is Grey's Anatomy. It's season 6.
Oh my god, 6 years of whining?
Yes. I used to watch this, actually, and last season just I stopped.
Grey's Anatomy is ER, but with women whining like the entire freaking 44 minutes. That's all they do. These women are like accomplished doctors, and all they can do is whine about everything.
Well, in their defense, the men are just as bad.
Even Katherine Heigl hates this show.
Well, exactly. She demanded that she be released, and she was killed on the show.
Oh, they did kill her off because I don't follow it?
Yeah. No, she was insistent because she really wanted to leave and move on to something else, and so her character had cancer. Yeah.
And one thing about Grey's Anatomy, I just want to plug, Eileen's cousin is in that show. Eileen, who did the music for this podcast.
Which one is she?
The Korean.
Yeah, I was like, yes.
Oh, Sandra Oh? Oh, there's music on this podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, I listen to myself. So, yeah, Private Practice, which is a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy.
It's more whining.
Yeah.
So ABC's giving you 2 hours of whining instead of 1.
Yes. Yeah. Lovely.
So, on CBS at 8, we have Survivor, which is on season 19.
It's because the thing with Survivor is they started off so far up there that even when they shed viewers, they still have quite a few, and it's a reality show which is not expensive to produce, so it's going to take a long time before they pull the plug on that baby.
Crap.
Yeah, but the people who manage to survive to the end, they're also despicable. Why would you even want to watch them? I don't understand.
Well, that's the concept of the show, though. They encourage despicable behavior.
I know.
And people love to hate.
Yeah.
But they follow that up with another long-standing favorite, which is CSI, the original, which I have gotten tired of.
Well, it's so badly written.
Well, they tried to compensate for the bad writing by bringing in Lawrence Fishburne.
They tried to compensate for Peterson leaving.
That's also true. That was really the only reason I stuck around for as long as I did checking out the series, is because I really like William Peterson's Grisham. And Lawrence Fishburne really, he brought a lot of, gravitas to the series just by being there and just the way he developed his own character, but the show is dead.
Well, the show is on its last leg because Lawrence Fishburne, as much as he actually created a genuine character, and he actually changed his body language, his posture to create a character, which not many actors do all the time. So, congratulations to Lawrence Fishburne for another great performance. But it is at that point where viewers tend to go like, well, you know what? It's been bad for a while. I just never really noticed before.
Yeah.
Let's stop watching, you know? It's kind of what happened with X-Files, where, you know, people stop watching when the staff
switch over
to the new characters. And it wasn't the new characters that were bad, it's just that people found it
people
important.
stopped then? Because I stopped before then. It was a show I liked, and then I was like, oh, this isn't good anymore.
Yeah, well, then that's what happened. It was actually better when the new crew arrived.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I should have come back then.
Yeah, but people use that as kind of a jumping off point.
But I think another problem that CSI has is they ran out of actual scientific methods.
Did they actually have scientific methods to begin with?
No, in the very beginning, that it was more believable. It was loosely based on science at the very least. You know, there were some actual core principles there that you could believe that, okay, maybe it's possible. Now they just gave up. It's just whatever. Throw some random thing that sounds vaguely scientific and...
Exactly. And it's like, oh, look, we have a machine that does this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sure most, forensic setups have very limited resource.
Well, it's amazing how in all these shows, I mean, not just CSI, all the cop shows on TV, for production reasons, get DNA results within hours, whereas usually it would take weeks or months in a normal police station.
Well, Law and Order is quite consistent about that.
That is true.
It does take months with them.
Well, they've always been more realistic than most shows.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, that's probably part of the reason why I always had a problem with CSI, is that I actually have always had a very strong interest in forensics, and I actually did study it for a bit. And so I'm kind of like, yeah, you're really stretching it there. It's like, I know what it was like. You're in the field scanning, who knows how many kilometers to look for a fragment of bone. It's like, this is not a glamorous job. They're also well dressed. And I'm like, but aren't you contaminating the evidence, right?
Yeah, but they have to look pretty. You can't have them as ugly as real people are. It's not like CSI Degrassi.
Yeah. I'll go with Quincy. Sorry.
No. One other thing about the bad writing, though, is it's become more and more obvious that they don't write the way you write a mystery. You write a mystery, you write the solution first, and you write backwards to lay out what the clues are going to be found when, and then you go back forward and follow the character's journey as you're writing. CSI clearly write the clues before they write the solution, because a lot of times the solution doesn't make any sense. I remember an episode where it involved somebody poisoning someone with dental floss and then throwing away
toothpaste, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was
toothpaste.
Sorry,
Yeah.
throwing a toothpaste in a can, but it's not the same toothpaste because the real toothpaste they throw away in the neighbor's thing. It's kind of like, who would do that? Who would go like, okay, I gotta get rid of the events. I'm gonna drop that in the neighbor's can. It's like, oh, another brand of toothpaste. I'm gonna throw this in the kitchen can. It's like, who does that?
It's so convoluted.
And it's because it was meant to match the clues and the fake outs that they established during the episode instead of working your way backwards.
It's basically a series of red herrings, and you cannot, like, if you just guess, you'll probably get it, but it's not like, oh yes, I'm making a series of deductions, and it's logical, and that made sense.
Yeah. And it really is just the order in which they write it, I think, is really apparent.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to CBS at 10, we have The Mentalist, which is another gimmick cop show.
Mm-hmm.
Yet one more.
With Simon Baker, he of the smug smile.
Yeah, the thing is, he's not likable, but he is pretty hot.
Yep.
And I imagine that's the main appeal of the show, because it can't be about his character, who is really a jerk.
And now you know why women watch CSI Miami and The Mentalist.
There you go.
It's doing incredibly well.
Wow.
And I hate the character so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Well, they did the most bizarre thing. Rather than trying to make him likable, they tried to make his backstory compensate for his rather detestable...
the serial killer
who killed his
family,
wife and child.
Yeah, but again, it's all geared towards women, because that's exactly how a lot of women work, whereas it's like, oh, I love this dark, brooding jerk, because he has... there's this element in his life that allows me to pity him at the same time. It's like women often fall for the bad boy for exactly that reason.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, I just like looking at him because he's pretty. I don't care about the story. Don't care about the series. I'll just look at you for a minute or two, then I'll go back to a better show.
And it's too bad, because Simon Baker is capable of playing sympathetic characters. Like fact that he's so detestable is not what he's doing, because he's played very sympathetic characters in movies. And
of course. Yeah, no, I like him.
Yeah.
I generally do.
He played in The Devil Wears
Prada. Yeah, The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
He plays the writer. And remember, he was on that television series for a while there, The Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really where North Americans got to know him.
Is he pretty? Is he? Yes.
He really is. I think so.
But don't judge Kazin too much, because we both know you watched Dark Angel.
So, moving on to NBC at 8, we have SNL Weekend Update Thursday.
It's funnier if you say the little name like in full.
What, Saturday Night Live? Yes.
What I find funny is, like, okay, people of our generation are definitely going to get the joke because SNL is such a big institution that will recognize it. But I'd be intrigued to see, like, 12 or 13-year-old viewers who are just getting into more adult entertainment going like, wait, Saturday Night Live Weekend Update Thursday. What?
I stopped listening to SNL since the good old days.
Yeah, but it's funny, every generation has their own good old days.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it just goes to show that it's very well targeted to that age group.
Yeah. Although I did tune in for Weekend Update. I do like Seth Meyers, and I liked it when it was both him and Amy Poehler, but then now that she's moved on, he actually carries it well on his own.
So it shares the time slot with Community.
Yeah, what's Community about?
That's only a half hour, so I'm guessing comedy, probably sitcom.
Yeah, you can also guess that because it's Thursday and it's NBC.
I'm guessing it's about a neighborhood sort of hanging together and interacting.
That 2009 show?
Yeah.
It's actually about a community college.
Oh, I was way off.
Yeah. Thing about Community, you know what? We'll get back to it later as you go.
Right, because it actually does also show later.
Yeah.
So NBC follows up with the second season of Parks and Recreation. Although, is it really a full second season? Did they have a full first season, rather?
No, I think it started late. It was a mid-season replacement.
Yeah.
I imagine they were trying to establish continuity in the sense that you've got a former SNL alum in Parks and Recreation, and so you create some sort of link between them. But, you know, it's about What's the word I'm looking for?
It's the office
Yeah.
about government. About
Exactly.
low-level government.
It's the same sort of focus, talking to the camera,
The main character is pretty much the same idea. Low self-esteem to the point of turning into an idiot.
Exactly.
Not because she is an idiot or Michael Scott is an idiot, but because they're so desperate to build up that self-esteem that they do stupid things constantly.
Exactly.
So anyway, it's followed up at 9 by The Office, season 6 of The Office, which is, awesome show.
Yeah.
Still working.
Yeah, still doing well.
They keep twisting it in various ways, but it's always good, and it never feels forced.
I will say one thing though. The whole idea that this is supposed to be a documentary makes less and less sense. Like when Jim gets transferred, there's a camera following him to the new office, and it's like, how likely is that?
Yeah. Anyway, apart from that, I'm willing to accept suspension of disbelief. Yeah. So then there's another shared time slot, Community and 30 Rock.
Yeah, so essentially what they're doing is that they're putting Community right after The Office to get the lead in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they expect Community to have gained a solid audience, they're going to put it at 8 to start the night off, which means they have quite a bit of faith in Community.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens to SNL Weekend Update Thursday?
It's just filler.
Disappear.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
It's just a filler for now.
Yeah, they did it last season as well. It would just pop up every once in a while to fill time, and then they went on to the regular
That's an
programming.
interesting concept, because, they're on SNL the rest of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So they're not losing any work, really, so they're not pissed.
Exactly.
It's just to discipline people to watch NBC at 8.
And finish up with Jay Leno, which, whatever, we've talked about.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then move on to Fox at 8, that starts out the night with Bones, which is, I enjoy Bones. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
Although I'm getting sick and tired of them killing Booth at the end of every season.
Yeah, but look at it this way. At least he's not losing his soul every season finale.
There you go.
Oh, and what's kind of cool about that show is the two lead actors or the two executive producers on it.
Yeah.
You feel that this is a great partnership. Like, I love in the credits how both names appear at the same time, one top right and the other bottom left, so that no one feels more important than the other. And you can feel that these are actors who, as executive producers, who really care about getting every other actors on screen time in every episode.
And I really like the dynamic between the two characters as well.
Yeah.
It's another show where all the characters around them feel as if there's sexual tension between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it feels just so comfortable as a relationship. It doesn't feel sexual, really.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's followed up by Fringe.
I'm so happy that Fox has given so much faith in Fringe as to give it a decent lead-in this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Fringe was good by bits for me.
Yeah.
But there are parts of the season where I dropped out and then came back in.
Okay.
I found that it's a demanding show in the sense that you've got to be patient because a lot of stuff is being set up.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the episodes that may seem boring at first are really just setting you up for a kick just further down the line. And I think it's so meticulously paced. That's what I appreciate about the show. I'm willing to be patient with Fringe because I actually trust the producers that they're going to deliver at the end of the line. Like, unlike a show like 24 where it really does feel like they're making it up as they go along, Fringe feels like it's a calculated gamble.
Yeah. It's Abrams, right?
Yeah, it's J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. I mean, he's awesome at that kind of storytelling. So.
Yeah. Although I thought it was funny that you said that the episode may seem boring at the beginning. I have to admit, I've never experienced that. Every episode I've watched, for me, I feel like I'm engaged from the beginning, but maybe it might just be because I simply appreciate where they're going to be going with it.
It's not structurally boring, but there's some elements that are deliberately cold. Like, we spent the first half of the season with the main character being very cold and kind of a depressing character. Mm-hmm. And near the mid of the season, she started warming up, kind of almost suddenly, but still gradually. And
it's because they introduced the family element.
Yeah.
Which shows another side of her. It's not just the professional side.
But it's also the fact that but what they revealed later on also is because she was in a phase of mourning.
Yeah.
Right.
She just lost her partner. And so it's the sort of thing where there's like, oh, that's a really cool character you're introducing. That's kind of like early Scully, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out it's like, no, she's actually a warm character who lives things and actually is impacted by the events. You know?
So that's kind of interesting that you brought that up too, because I had sympathy for her because I had watched it from the very beginning, so I assumed part of the reason of how she interacted with people was because of that.
Right.
Because she's constantly doubting her instincts now, and
Yeah, that was an interesting.
So for me,
dynamic.
that was very apparent. So if she seemed cold to other people, it didn't bother me. Because I assumed it was because of that.
No, but what I mean is that it's not so much that it bother you, but it's a gamble in the sense of if you're not warm from the start, you're not grabbing the audience.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
So yeah, and then that's it for Fox. CW, The Vampire Diaries.
Most emo title ever.
I'm thinking it's a take on what was that movie
Twilight?
that came out? Yeah,
Twilight.
I'm thinking they're trying to capture that audience.
I think so too. What is it about specifically? It's about vampires and they're teens, so they have a diary.
Yeah. Chronicle my struggle. Yeah.
No, you're right on the nose. That's exactly what it is. We're riding the Twilight train right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much to say about that. So they followed up with Supernatural.
Yeah, I initially kind of followed along, but I just find that I'm getting a little bored with the premise and there's the angels and demons kind of thing. And like, yeah, I've read stuff like this or I've seen stuff like this before, so now I'm kind of bored.
Oh, you've read Spawn?
So yeah, I'm a little bored at this point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just started up again, so it's still
okay.
fresh.
Maybe I need to take a break,
Yeah.
and maybe when I come back, it'll feel a little bit better. I know.
I gave up after the first season, and my reason for it was completely irrational. It's because it would bug the crap out of me because I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan, and every time the character who used to play Dean on Gilmore Girls called his brother Dean, it would confuse me so much. So rather than try to get used to it and stop typecasting the poor boy, I just went, I'm not watching this. Alright, so Kazim, how about you call a winner for this one?
This is gonna be hard. It feels like a toss-up between NBC and Fox. It really depends on what kind of mood you're in. If you're in the mood for comedy, NBC. Even though we're not supposed to, I'm gonna have to go with personal choice. I'll probably end up with Fox. I like having Bones and Fringe back to back, and I'm a little leery about Community. I guess I'd have to see it to know. Parks and Recreation again is not as strong as say The Office and 30 Rock. I never really got into it.
You can tell the network feels the same way because they seem to be sandwiching it between their stronger shows.
Exactly. So I think I'm going to go with Fox in this case.
I'll go with NBC. I think NBC is gonna capture it.
Yeah, no, they have a pretty reliable set of comedies. They've been dominating the Thursday night for quite some time. Although with the Jill Leno show replacing ER, I think they're going to have quite a drop off.
Yeah.
And 30 Rock might actually lose a bit of audience because I think it was sandwiched between ER and Office. So what are you guys going to watch though?
Fox.
Yeah?
I think it's pretty obvious what our tastes are like.
I don't know, I'm going to watch Flash Forward myself on ABC and then Fringe. Alright then, I guess that's it. Tune in Friday next week for what I like to call the death slot, the Friday Grid, as well as our long-awaited Electric Boogaloo, because we've been avoiding it all week. Bye-bye.